Hello students, I welcome you all to the online lecture of research methodology. In this lecture, we will be discussing about report preparation. This is the last topic in your unit 4 of research methodology subject. As a matter of fact, even the most brilliant hypotheses, highly well designed and conducted research studies, and the most striking generalizations and findings are of little value unless they are effectively communicated to others. The purpose of research is not well served unless the findings are made known to others. Writing of report is the last step in the research study, and it requires a set of skills somewhat different from those called for in respect of the earlier stages of research. This task should be accomplished by the researcher with utmost care. He or she may seek the assistance and guidance of experts for this purpose. Different steps in writing the report. First is logical analysis of the subject matter. Second is preparation of the final outline. Third is preparation of the rough draft. Fourth is rewriting and polishing. Fifth is preparation of the final bibliography. Sixth is writing the final draft. Let's have the detailed analysis of all these steps. First, logical analysis of the subject matter. It is the very first step which is primarily concerned with the development of the subject. There are two ways in which to develop a subject. First is logical way, second is chronological way. The logical development is based on the basis of mental connections and associations between the one thing and another by means of analysis. Logical treatment often consists in developing the material from the simple possible to the most complex structures. Chronological development is based on a connection or sequence in time or occurrence. Second is preparation of the final outline. It is the next step in writing the research report. Outlines are the frameworks upon which long written works are constructed. They are an aid to the logical organization of the material and a reminder of the points to be stressed in the report. Next we have preparation of the rough draft. This follows the logical analysis of the subject and preparation of the final outline. Such a step is an utmost importance for the researcher. Now, researcher sits to write down what he has done in the context of his research study. He will write down the procedure adopted by him in collecting the material for his study along with various limitations faced by him. The technique of analysis adopted by him, the broad findings and generalizations, and the various suggestions he wants to offer regarding the problem concerned. Fourth step is rewriting and polishing of the rough draft. These steps happen to be the most difficult part of all formal writing. Usually, this step requires more time than writing the rough draft. The careful revision makes the difference between a mediocre and a good piece of writing. While rewriting and polishing, one should check the report for weaknesses in logical development or presentation. In addition, the researcher should give due attention to the fact that in his rough draft he has been consistent or not. He should check the mechanism of writing, grammar, spelling, and usage. Fifth is preparation of the final bibliography. Next in order comes the task of the preparation of the final bibliography. The bibliography, which is generally appended to the research report, is a list of books in some way pertinent to the research which has been done. It should contain all those works which the researcher has consulted. The bibliography should be arranged alphabetically and may be divided into two parts. The first part may contain the names of the books and pamphlets, and the second part may contain the names of magazines and newspaper articles. Generally, this pattern of bibliography is considered convenient and satisfactory from the point of view of readers, though it is not the only way of presenting the bibliography. The entries in bibliography should be adopted using the following order. For books and pamphlet, the order may be used as under: name of the author, last name first, then title that need to be underlined and in italics, then place, publisher and date of publication. Lastly, you can write number of volume. For magazines and newspapers, the order may be as under: name of the author, last name first, then title of article in inverted commas, then name of periodical in italics, the volume on volume and number, date of issue, and lastly the page. The only important thing is whatever method a researcher selects, he or she should remain consistent with that method of writing bibliography. Writing the final draft is the sixth step. This constitutes the last step. The final draft should be written in a concise and objective style and in simple language, avoiding vague expressions such as it seems, there may be, and the like ones. While writing the final draft, the researcher must avoid abstract terminologies and technical jargons. Illustrations and examples based on common experiences must be incorporated in the final draft as they happen to be most effective in communicating the research findings to others. It must be remembered that every report should be an attempt to solve some intellectual problem and must contribute to the solution of the problem and must add to the knowledge of both the researcher and the reader. Layout of the research report. Anybody who is reading the research report must necessarily be conveyed enough about the study so that he can place it in its general scientific context, judge the adequacy of this method, and thus form an opinion of how seriously the findings are to be taken. For this purpose, there is need of proper layout of the report. The layout of the report means as to what the research report should contain. A comprehensive layout of the research report should comprises of three content. First is preliminary pages, then the main text, and C part, the end matter. Preliminary pages. In its preliminary pages, the report should carry a title and date, followed by acknowledgements in the form of preface or foreword. Then there should be a table of contents, followed by list of tables and illustrations, so that the decision makers or anybody interested in reading the report can easily locate the required information in the report. Next we have main text. The main text provides a complete outline of the research report along with all details. Title of the research study is repeated at the top of the first page of the main text and then follows the other details of pages numbered consecutively, beginning with the second page. Each main section of the report should begin on the new page. The main text of the report should have the following sections. First is introduction. The purpose of introduction is to introduce the researcher project to the reader. It should contain a clear statement of the objectives of the research. That is, enough background should be given to make clear to the reader why the problem was considered worth investigating. A brief summary of other relevant research may also be stated so that the present study can be seen in that context. The hypothesis of study, if any, and the definition of the major concepts employed in the study should be explicitly stated in the major introduction of the report. The methodology adopted in conducting the study must be fully explained. Next is statement of findings and recommendations. After introduction, the research report must contain a statement of findings and recommendations in non-technical language so that it can be easily understood by all concerned. If the findings happen to be extensive, at this point, researchers should put those findings in the most summarized form. Next is results. A detailed presentation of the findings of the study with supporting data in the form of tables and charts together with the validation of results is the next step in writing the main text of the report. This generally comprises the main body of the report, extended over several chapters. The results section of the report should contain statistical summaries and reductions of the data rather than the raw data. Next is implications of the results. Towards the end of the main text, the researcher should again put down the results of his research clearly and precisely. He should state the implications that flow from the results of the study, for the general reader is interested in the implication for understanding the human behavior. Such implications may have three aspects as stated below. A statement of the inferences drawn from the present study which may be expected to apply in similar circumstances. Next, the conditions of the present study which may limit the extent of legitimate generalizations of the inferences drawn from the study. Next, the relevant questions that still remain unanswered or new questions raised by the study, along with suggestions from the kind of research that would provide answers for them. It is considered a good practice to finish the report with a short conclusion, which summarizes and recapitulates the main points of the study. The conclusion drawn from the study should be clearly stated to the hypothesis that was stated in the introductory section. At the same time, a forecast of the probable future of the subject and an indication of the kind of research which needs to be done in that particular field is useful and desirable. Next is summary. It has become customary to conclude the research report with a very brief summary, resting in brief the research problem, the methodology, the major findings, and the major conclusion drawn from the research results. End matter. At the end of the report, appendices should be enlisted in respect of all technical data such as questionnaires, sample information, mathematical derivations, and the like ones. Bibliography of sources consulted should also be given. Index and alphabetical listing of names, places, and topics, along with the number of the pages in the book or report on which they are mentioned or discussed, should invariably be given at the end of the report. The value of index lies in the fact that it works as a guide to the reader for the contents in the report. Types of research reports. Research reports vary greatly in length and type. In each individual case, both the length and the form are largely dictated by the problems at hand. For instance, business firms prefer reports in the latter form, just 1 or 2 pages in length. Banks, insurance organizations, and financial institutions are generally fond of the short balance sheet type of tabulation for their annual reports to their customers and shareholders. Students of literature usually write long reports presenting the critical analysis of some writers or periods, or the like, with the liberal use of quotations from the works of the author under discussion. In the field of education and psychology, the favorite form is a report on the results of experimentations accompanied by the detailed analysis and statistical tabulation. News items. News items in the daily papers are also a form of report writing. They represent first-hand on-the-scene accounts of the events described or compilations of interviews with persons who were on the scene. In such reports, the first paragraph usually contains the important information in detail, and the succeeding paragraph contains material which is progressively less and less important. Book reviews, which analyze the content of the book and report on the author's intentions, his success or failure in achieving his aims, his language, his style, scholarship, bias, or his point of view. Such reviews also happen to be a kind of short report. The report prepared by governmental bureaus, special commissions, and similar other organizations are generally very comprehensive reports on the issues involved. Such reports are usually considered as important research products. Similarly, PhD theses and dissertations are also a form of report writing, usually completed by students in academic institutions. The above narration throws light on the fact that the results of the research investigation can be presented in a number of ways, with technical report, a popular report, an article, a monograph, or at times even in the form of oral presentation. Which method of presentation to be used in a particular study depends on the circumstances under which the study arose and the nature of results. A technical report is used whenever a full written report of the study is required, whether for record keeping or for public dissemination. A popular report is used if the research results have policy implications. Technical report. In the technical report, the main emphasis is on the method employed, assumptions made in the course of the study, the detailed presentation of the findings, including their limitations and supporting data. A general outline of the technical report can be as follows. First, summary of results, then nature of study, then methods employed, next is data, then analysis of data and presentation of findings, then conclusion, then bibliography, then technical appendices, and lastly index. In popular report, the popular report is one which gives emphasis on simplicity and attractiveness. The simplification should be sought through clear writing, minimization of technical, particularly mathematical details, and liberal use of charts and diagrams. Attractive layout along with large print, many subheadings, even an occasional cartoon now and then is another characteristic feature of the popular report. Besides, in such a report, emphasis is given on practical aspects and policy implications. The general outline of the popular report is the findings and their implications, then recommendations for action, objectives of the study, methods employed, results, and technical appendices. Precautions for writing research report. Research report is a channel of communicating the research findings to the readers of the report. A good research report is one which does this task efficiently and effectively, as it must be prepared keeping the following precautions in mind. First, while determining the length of the report, one should keep in view the fact that it should be long enough to cover the subject but short enough to maintain the interest. Second, abstract terminologies and technical jargons should be avoided in research report. The report should be able to convey the matter as simple as possible. Third, readers are often interested in acquiring a quick knowledge of the main findings, and as such, the report must provide a ready availability of findings. For this purpose, charts, graphs, and statistical tables may be used for the various results in the main report in addition to the summary of important findings. Fourth, the layout of the report should be well thought out and must be appropriate and in accordance with the objective of the research problem. Fifth, the report should be free from grammatical mistakes and must be prepared strictly in accordance with the techniques of composition of report writing, such as the use of quotations, footnotes, documentation, proper punctuation, and use of abbreviation in footnotes and the like. The report must present the logical analysis of the subject matter. A research report should show originality and should necessarily be an attempt to solve some intellectual problem. It must contribute to the solution of the problem and must add to the store of knowledge. 8. Towards the end, the report must also state the policy implications relating to the problem under consideration. It is usually considered desirable if the report makes a forecast of the probable future of the subject concerned and indicates the kind of research still needs to be done in that particular field. That means scope of future research should be stated clearly. 9th, appendices should be enlisted in respect of all the technical data in the report. 10th, bibliography of sources consulted is a must for a good report and must necessarily be given. Next, index is also considered an essential part of the good report and, as such, must be prepared and appended at the end. Next, report must be attractive in appearance, neat and clean, whether typed or printed. Lastly, objective of the study, the nature of the problem, the method employed, and the analysis techniques adopted must also be clearly stated in the beginning of the report in the form of introduction.